Oh.
I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers. It's just not boxing. And I don't think we should promote it as boxing.
Leaked footage from Gervonta Davis's training camp shows him sparring with heavyweight-sized partners as he prepares for his fight against Jake Paul.
Stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
The clips show Tank testing his power against much bigger opponents, proving he's not afraid of the size difference. His team reportedly set up these intense sessions to toughen him up and silence critics who question whether he can handle larger fighters. Gervonta Davis has been training with fighters much bigger than him, sparring with heavyweights and strong punchers to improve his power and timing. These sessions highlight his confidence, as he refuses to limit himself to his own weight class and keeps challenging opponents who outweigh him by a large margin. Jake Paul has built his career by choosing fights that create attention and controversy. He never picks opponents randomly. Every fight is planned to give him some kind of advantage, while still leaving people uncertain about the outcome. Whether it's a difference in weight, experience, or fighting style, Jake always finds a setup that benefits him but keeps fans guessing. That mix of control and risk is what makes his fights exciting. Fans know he plans carefully, yet they also sense the danger of facing unpredictable rivals. Each fight feels like a gamble that keeps everyone wondering who will take charge when the bell rings.
What's the key to having a fight that's exciting? Is when you look at one corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat. And you look at the other corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat. And they're about to fight. It just feels like Jake Paul is always picking fights where he has a massive advantage. Like now he's fighting Gervonta Davis, who's, I don't know how much smaller, but probably close to like 80 pounds smaller, which is a crazy, significant weight advantage for Jake Paul. Now, you have to also look at the other way. Gervonta has a crazy advantage over Jake Paul. He has incredible amount of skill, more years of training. For sure, pound for pound, he would mop the floor with Jake Paul. But this is what makes the fight exciting. And two guys fighting, and we don't know who's gonna win. Guys, what's the key to having a fight that's exciting? Is when you look at one corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat. And you look at the other corner, you're like, that guy can't be beat. And they're about to fight. Somebody's about to say go, and these guys gotta go at it. So that's what makes a fight exciting. So this is kind of that. Because if they were the same weight, none of us would tune in. We'd be like, this is just a punching bag for Gervonta. It doesn't make the fight exciting. But because Jake Paul is so big, so much bigger, it makes the fight exciting.
Promoter Eddie Hearn believes the upcoming fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul crosses a dangerous line. He says that boxing's true spirit lies in fair competition, not in shows made just for publicity. To him, this fight looks more like entertainment than a real sporting event. The size difference between the fighters makes it clear that the matchup isn't balanced. Jake Paul is naturally bigger, while Gervonta comes from lighter divisions built on speed and skill. Hearn warns that when boxing focuses too much on entertainment, it loses its professional roots. He sees this fight not as a contest of skill, but as a business show made for money and views, which could damage the respect boxing has built over generations.
They said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show. It's entertainment. It's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight. You know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round. I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show, shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. Now, whether you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers. It's just not boxing. And I don't think we should promote it as boxing.
In the meantime, then, Eddie, where does that leave you with Anthony Joshua? Are you exploring other options for the end of this year, or are you still looking at that fight for the beginning?
Yeah, no, we're not interested in the Jake Paul fight right now. After that, I mean, like, you know, we're not going to wait around till November. Is it November or December, whenever it is, and see how he gets on. I mean, if he gets chinned by Gervonta Davis, we can't exactly make the Anthony Joshua fight.
Former champion Paulie Malignaggi takes a more realistic approach to the fight. He reminds fans that this event shouldn't be mistaken for an official boxing match. It's a show. He says there's no betting, no serious ranking impact, and no lasting effect on either fighter's career. To him, it's more of an exhibition meant to entertain people rather than test professional limits. He says fans should enjoy it as a spectacle, not as a serious competition. Malignaggi's view reflects the frustration of many boxing purists who feel the sport is moving towards showmanship over integrity. But at the same time, he admits that this is how the boxing business has evolved, where personality and promotion often matter more than belts and titles.
I don't think when I watch it, I don't. I just think he's fighting opponents that, you know, are not with it anymore or are too small for him and whatnot. But in this situation, it is an exhibition. So you've got to keep in mind that this could be set up. This could be like WWE. This one could be set up. I don't know. I'm not saying it is, but this is not a sanctioned fight, champ. This is an exhibition. And an exhibition means you cannot bet on it. You cannot bet on the result. If you remember, this is why they changed the Mike Tyson fight from an exhibition to a real fight, because they realized, you know, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that, as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing, Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. You know, that's a lot of weight, Carl. You know, you've been in a boxing ring, that still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is that the gloves are small. Jake could also hurt Gervonta because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him. You know, so do you make the gloves big, and then really who's got an advantage? I don't know. You know, technically Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the.
Wade Plemons from the Wade Concept calls Jake Paul a master of manipulation who knows how to use fame and ego as his weapons. Jake doesn't just throw punches. He plays psychological games that draw opponents into his world. He knows how to build tension, provoke reactions, and turn challenges into viral moments. Wade explains that Jake lured Gervonta Davis into this fight using fame, wealth, and the promise of huge money. In other words, he made it impossible for Tank to walk away. Jake's confidence and marketing sense turn each of his fights into a global event. He understands that real victory isn't just about winning in the ring, but about controlling the narrative before and after the fight.
Also, and again, Jake's only been boxing for 5, 6, 7 years now. It isn't necessarily far-fetched to try to have his own advantages when trying to fight other boxers that have been far more experienced than him. But this one's a little too much, right? This one is crazy because of the massive weight difference. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, as far as a sport fight is concerned, I want to make sure I make that clear. Again, this is not me hating on it, because I do think that both guys have been very upfront with what they're doing in this fight and what their goals are with these kind of events. But the narrative Jake's trying to create as if this is like proving anything for him fighting a real fighter when Gervonta is so much smaller than he is, It'll prove something in the fact that Jake is willing to put on great events, but it won't prove anything to the people that are asking him to fight a real fighter. I will say though, if Jake goes out and flatlines Gervonta, the casual audience that will say Gervonta smokes Jake completely and utterly, like it wouldn't even be close, that will change their minds a little bit. Not the people that know boxing, but the people that are going to watch this, the casual viewer that know the name Gervonta Davis and know the name Jake Paul. If he is to compete with Gervonta at all or look good in that fight, people will in some way accept that. Or they'll do the other thing where they just say the fight's rigged, which has never been the case, but you get what I'm saying. What Jake is doing is trying to convince a casual audience that he belongs in the ring with bigger names. If he's able to hurt Gervonta at all, that might actually...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.